All right, I'd like to introduce the one, the only motherfucking Gaslamp killer. Make noise for that cat. The name?
The Gaslamp Killer. You guys want to know where it comes from? I guess that's
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, San Diego only has a few real clubs, or when I was growing up, it only had a few real clubs with real sound systems. And as a DJ, you get tired of playing with 2 monitors, little speakers with no bass, and you really want to play your music louder. And it wasn't even wanted to play it for any different people. I was happy with the hip hop community that I was in, and the rave community. Everybody, really great people around me, supportive, helping me learn about music, and that was fine with me. But I just wanted to play louder in clubs that were nicer, and so I went to the Gaslamp district, which is where all the clubs were, and the people hated me. The patrons just hated me. Like, right away, as soon as I stepped in the club, I played Mobb Deep, Shook Ones, and they were like, play Shakira. I was like, this is actually safe for me. Mobb Deep, Shook Ones should have made you all happy. Like, I'm actually semi-catering right now. So then I just switched to MF Doom, Dead Bent, and
worse.
And I would just, from there, I would play like, Bob James 1 and start playing stuff for B-boys and playing all these weird rock records and juggling, 4 bars of a break in some record that gets terrible after the break, and doing my DJ stuff that I was into. All my friends, we were all into that stuff, and so it seemed completely natural to me. And I learned right away that the people at the club were not into that shit. And the promoters and the club owners, they had been in the community for years, and they know what a good DJ is. So they knew that I was good. So they wanted to give me a chance, but their patrons sucked a dog's dick, and that wasn't their fault, They were just like sucking donkey dick all day, and that's just, their parents, something their parents did, I don't know, but they just had no idea what good music was, and those were the people I was forced to play for in order to get on a real club and play at a real club on a real stage with a real sound system.
Right. What kind of dog dick would you say that is?
Like a fucking Australian Shepherd, big one.
That's the biggest one.
Not the biggest.
All right, so you mentioned b-boying a little bit. Famous for whatever you call it, a dance when you're on stage. What is your history with dancing, with b-boying, with the whole hip-hop culture? Speak a little bit on that.
Well, once again, I grew up in this hip-hop electronic community in San Diego, and everyone danced. And not last night, the night before, we did a Dilla tribute on Dilla's birthday at the Little Temple in LA. And I played with a lot of the Beat Junkies, and House Shoes hosted and also played, and Fat Cat and Med came out. And it was like such a beautiful experience. And I was getting into my set, and I was looking back, and Mr. Chop was like, yeah, do it. And I was like, fuck. I couldn't believe, I remember like, before these cats were DJs, they were dancing. They were dancing and doing graffiti, and nobody could afford turntables that I knew, and nobody could afford records for that matter, but dancing is free, and we all did it. That's just how we grew up. Like, we would go to the club, and there would be people dancing with each other, and there would be a circle, and it was just a natural thing, and everybody danced, and all these DJs that I look up to still to this day got moves, and they just grew up and decided to focus on trick mixing and making sure that their sets were clean so everybody out in the crowd could dance. And for some reason, I just was more gravitated to having a better time than being so serious.
Right.
And I don't care about it being clean. I just want to have fun, and I have the sloppiest set of the night on Tuesday by far, but everybody before that, the crowd was kind of not giving it to the DJs. The crowd was kind of just standing there looking like, what is he gonna play next? Which is fine. I don't expect anybody to do anything, just happy you're here. Happy you guys are here. I don't expect shit. I'm just here just to be me. That's it. I'm alive. I didn't choose to be born. I'm here. Here I am. Fuck me. I can't kill myself. I've tried. It's impossible. And dancing is one of the funnest things you could do. It's like channeling this spirit, you know, and I don't ever want to stop doing that. I want to be dancing on my fucking deathbed. I want to be dancing. As I stare down at the hole in my crotch. I mean, you guys can stare at that for the rest of the we all danced, you know, and some people let it go and others kept going, and I will never stop dancing. And I might not get into it every single set I play, but I want to, and if the crowd's feeding me and the song is right and get in that moment, I swear I feel more tapped into the source when I'm dancing and DJing and in the pocket. That's how I get in my pocket. That's how I tap into the source. And I think a lot of people, all ages, feel that way when they dance. And it's one of the last things humanity has besides laughter. Things like this are really important to keep because my phone is in my arm. Like, my internet is in me. I want to look at Twitter and Facebook and Instagram every fucking 5 minutes. I cannot escape it. And I think a lot of my friends are like that as well. And when you let that go for a second, it's the greatest feeling ever. And that's how I find my peace of mind, is like dancing, laughing, and having those moments. So It's very important.
Absolutely. So on a similar wavelength, one of the pleasures of life, analog, vinyl, synths. You seem to be one of the great vinyl enthusiasts over time. I know your collection is really deep. There's a lot of diggers here who kind of want to know how you came up with that. Speak a little bit on your first experiences with vinyl, Gemini starter kit, whatever it was, and then from there on.
Well, first let me just say that without my friends and my elders in the community, I would have known nothing about music. I mean, it was obviously my choice to delve into this stuff, but I just always had older friends who looked out for me, and everybody in the community in Southern California that I was around was digging all the time, and really, really impressive people with amazing thirst for knowledge of music. And in school, they make you feel like you're in jail and you have to study what they tell you, even though you're not keen on it, not good at it, and not going to use it ever for anything. And I always felt like this is not reality. I need to create my own reality. And all my friends doing hip hop music were doing just that. As soon as we got out of school, we would go digging and bring home stuff and start practicing, and all my older friends were putting me up on records from the get-go. I remember being 14 and people playing me Portishead and Gangstar and stuff like this when I was super young. And even before that, my sister gave me a Too Short tape. My brother gave me a Guns N' Roses tape. You know, my mom was listening to Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, and my dad was listening to the Beatles. And I was always around like this diverse stuff, but it wasn't until I got with my friends that I started hearing beats, and it was just infectious. And I always wanted to be around my friends, and I still do. I'm a very social person, and that's like one of the most important things in my life is my community and my friends, and we all were into that. So just like if your friends get into something, you want to be like, why are you all doing this? I want to know. There's got to be a reason. It's got to be good. Sometimes you find out it's not, and then hopefully you find some new friends. But yeah, I've run with many different crowds, but it was always the music people I kept coming back to and realizing, yes, these guys really, they know what's going on, and I bless them for that. And I'll even say some names. Tension, from a group called Scrapes. Tension and Psychopop formed Scrapes. They're both San Diego dudes. And my friend Adam Manella and my friend Michael Russell, my friend Ricky Isabella, Javier Martinez, these guys were huge in my music upbringing, and we would drive to Hollywood every Saturday night to see Egon and Cut Chemist and Miles Tackett play at Funky Soul, which was located at Star Shoes on the Hollywood Strip in the middle of the like douche central. These guys would be playing this amazing funk and soul and classic 45s right on the Hollywood Strip, and right across the street it was like lines of people begging to be seen and begging to get in. And across the street, it was just rammed with people dancing to this obscure, weird stuff. And that's where I discovered Turkish music and Bollywood and you know, music from the Middle East and Asia and all these crazy records, because after 12:30, the crowd would start to recede and go out, and people would start to, you know, clear out. And that's when Egon and Cut Chemist would be like, all right, it's you and me now, dog. Right. What'd you find this week? All right, boom, and they'd drop it. I would wait all night for 1 a.m. and the last 30 minutes of Funky Soul, Egon and Cut Chemist would play their world music stuff, like African stuff and all this. And I just became obsessed right away. I was like, I'm never sampling James Brown again. Like, I'm sampling Erkin Koray and Barish Menko and Arif Saag and you know, R.D. Berman and all these dudes, you know, oh man, so many, K. Frimpong from Ghana, and all these people that I started hearing. And I still am not that deep on records that I would like to be deeper, but I got caught up with growing up and stuff. But there's so many records that are out there, still unearthed gems that people don't even know about, that I would love to get my fucking hands on and my ears on. And yeah, it's just forever, man. That's what drives us. That's what drives DJs. If you don't have that hunger and that quest for knowledge of new music, then you're in the wrong business, you know? If you're just getting downloads from the internet or whatever your friends are playing or whatever, it's definitely find another job, find another hobby even, in my opinion.
Right. So speaking on sort of Middle Eastern samples, digging in that direction kind of internationally, you mentioned Turkish music. You have some Turkish background. Speak a little bit on that, your roots.
My grandfather's from Istanbul in a place called Tekirdağ, which is like basically in Istanbul. It's just like 30, 40 minutes out. And there's people, I'm doing a show March 10th in Istanbul, and I've done a show there before. And there's people that actually still live in Tekirdağ. It's still there. And I never met my grandfather. Unfortunately, he died when my dad was 10 in Mexico City. But yeah, Middle Eastern music, anybody that hears it, well, anybody that I run with, when you hear Middle Eastern music, you feel the depth in it, like the pain and the emotion. They don't, like, I haven't heard much happy music from those places. And India definitely has some triumphant, up, kind of, not happy, but more positive kind of sounds going on, but they also have a darker side. But with Turkish music, like, everything I was hearing was so moody and so deep, and the singing is like praying. And I grew up in a religious Jewish community when I was a kid, and they would pray in the synagogue, and they would be like crying with their prayers. It was so emotional. It wasn't like, it was so different, and that's what I grew up with. And it made sense. Whenever I heard Middle Eastern music, it just gave me goosebumps, and I felt like, wow, what the hell? And I was like eating at a Lebanese restaurant or something. I had no idea about this music, but I always thought, this is dope, and the singing is awesome. And then I heard Egon and Cut Chemist start playing this stuff, and Cherry Stones and Andy Votel start putting out compilations of stuff, B Music, Finders Keepers, and my man Cherry Stones, who's like the godfather of those labels, they had comps out in '99 of this music when I was still, you know, at a rave. They were already in this stuff, so I was late to the party. And mind you, these guys are, you know, late 30s, early 40s, so, and I'm 29 now. So I'm not like kicking myself for being late, but there's so much out there, and I've always been connected to that vibe. And when I went to Istanbul for the first time this summer, in July 17th, Rock and Coke Festival in Istanbul. It was so amazing. I just looked at the people and I was like, you look like me. And the vibe there was so raw, and it was so awesome, and they were so grateful, and the bands that were playing was amazing, and the record stores and the food and the bazaar and everything it was so awesome. I love it out there. I can't wait to go back. Really excited, and that music is forever in me. And as soon as I played it for Ganja Sufi, he was like,
that was his vibe, yeah.
oh my God, he was attacked. Like, he was with it too. And his father's Ethiopian. He doesn't have Turkish roots, but he loved it too. And then we started listening to some Ethiopian stuff and African stuff together. There's so much music from around the world that has like so much more depth to it. And I don't even know what they're saying. I don't even know the language, but it doesn't even matter because music is more powerful than words, you know?
Absolutely. So you and Ganja Sufi had a pretty well-received record. What was the process meeting him, going into that, and kind of conceptualizing the direction of the record?
Well, we met 12 years ago when we were kids, and he was an angry hip-hop battle cat, ready to knock anybody out that stepped to him wrong, and was a very aggressive energy kind of guy. And he still has that side to him, but yoga has mellowed him out a lot. But yeah, we'd run into each other a lot, and we didn't really get along that well. But then I heard his cassette tape, and I heard this song, Black Suit, which is on, I just got goosebumps just saying the song, Black Suit. The song is on Muzzle. It's on his new record. It's actually older music. And I heard this song, and the chorus goes, they're making fun of me. And he's singing that in like a reggae style. They're making fun of me, oh, and it was just like, whoa. And I started listening to the lyrics, and it was this story about this man who has been made fun of all the fucking time. And I totally relate to that. I got fucking picked on in school for being different my whole life. And Sumach, he has a 12-year dread in his beard and a 12-year beaver tail dread in his head, and it's gnarly. He looks crazy. I mean, he just does, but he's beautiful, but he's crazy looking. And people made fun of him, and he made this song that connected with me right away. And the rest of the album was like rapping, but dark, brooding, gurgling, singing, but not singing. It was rapping, but it was just like, you know, Far Side of Freestyle Fellowship. These guys were playing with that singing, rapping stuff, and then Bone Thugs stole that shit from Freestyle Fellowship and started doing that. And I always felt like, I like this. This is dope. Right. This makes me happy to hear them singing, rapping to the melody of the beat. I like that, you know? And then I heard Sumach's stuff. Whoa. And I worked in this record store called Access Hip Hop in San Diego. It was my first job. And I dropped out of college and started pursuing music. And my parents were like, you have to have a job if you're going to live here. You have to start paying some of the bills, and your chores are going to double. And like, we're going to punish you for dropping out of school. You can't stay here unless you work harder. And I would play this song. You know, you work at a record store or any store that's not satellite. We take turns. Everybody gets to play one CD, and then you go around the employees, everybody. And you're going to hate one of your fellow employees' CDs. And everybody hated Ganja Sufi shit in the store. Like, God bless those guys. They like it now. But there was a moment where they really did not like it. And they would tell me, this is fucking annoying. You keep playing this. Why don't you pick another disc? And I would listen to it over and over. When it was my turn, I would play that. They'd be like, can you please play something else today? And I was just so into it. And then he heard some edits that I was working on. A duet was the first thing he heard. And I just looped up this record, Son of Spirit, on Mercury. This band Spirit, they had branched out, and the drummer, this bald-headed, amazing drummer from the band, put out this Son of Spirit, which was like a spin-off of the band, and I sampled it. It's called The Other Song by Son of Spirit. That's how I got a duet, and I just looped up the parts that I thought were appropriate, and I was doing these creative DJ edits a lot and keeping vocals like the end of one verse, the last word of a verse, and then bringing that back into the loop again, and like doing these semi-creative DJ edits. And he started hearing this stuff and going, let me get some of those. And I was a fan of his, so I gave it to him. And the next thing you know, we had a duet and When I'm in Awe.